And they're recording. Okay, so welcome everybody. Um, this and I was in Chicago, which is why I forgot to send out the invitations. And we were at a training about indicators of distress. And another way of looking at that is indicators of success. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing in the charter schools division um, is really reaching out to you guys and working with the boards on how you can be more proactive in looking for things that are common signs of distress so that you guys can be working as a team as effectively as possible to try to mitigate those things so that nobody's coming at you later finding things that you haven't had a chance to find and address. And so I know that we have a reputation with some schools of being a gotcha or beating you about the head and neck with a stick. And it's not going to be that. It's not that. It's not the intention at all. It really is trying to be supportive. Nobody likes to close a school, and it's so painful and disruptive to everybody involved. And so, it'd be nice to get to the point where that's not even a possibility, that schools are managing themselves, the boards are managing them appropriately and making sure that everything is appropriate. So I'm excited about that work that we're going to be doing. I'm going to set a plan to actually have us come out to all of the all of the state authorized schools and work with each board on it before, the expectation is set that you're going to be doing it. So anyway, one of the other things that I wanted to let you guys know is that you're going to have to declare which option you're going to want in the performance framework the week after you're approved. So approval week is going to be either November 12th, 13th, 14th, or the week of December 9th. And so then, the week of the 18th of November or the week of the 16th of December, you're going to be asked to provide what option you're going to go with regards to the academic framework. Are you going to go with option one, which is just using the state assessment? Are you going to go with option two, which is a combination of using the state assessment and then any areas within the state assessment that are not putting you in the best light, you use the alternative assessment. And then option three, which is not looking at the statewide assessment data, only looking at what you've provided. Now we've got a lot of templates that have been created for NWEA, iStation, IMASA, and I don't know all of the ones we've got created for the one school that's choosing option three this year. Those are posted on the website. You'll have to use them in the format that they're in on the website. And so if you're thinking, well, those are all good and well, Missy, but we want to use a different assessment, we need to be working on that now so that we can get the contractors to be working on building those templates as soon as possible, so that you guys have a smoother transition as year's cohort have. So anyway, I would like it if you guys, I feel very strongly that you all should be deciding which option you're going to go with and know what option you're going to go with well before the renewal hearings, so that, again, if there are any questions about a different assessment or understanding those templates, we can be working with you on that throughout the fall. So Today, I also want to go over what Part A is going to look like. We're working on Part A, some Part B, and then some examples around petition language, and some example conditions that we've had that you can look forward to. Let's see. All right. So with Part A, it'll say your school name and all the things, the address and everything. It'll talk about your mission. One of the things that we've taken out of the renewal application that you might remember from last time you renewed was the requirement of a letter from PSFA. You do not have to get a letter from PSFA. I have got your most current weighted NMCI number. So that'll also be in the cover page of Part A. We will list out all the amendments that you've asked for over the past term of your contract, over the past 4 years, whether it was approved, the date of it. And then we'll have demographics. It's now Stars Nova or just Nova. I don't know what it'll be tomorrow, but that's what it is today, Stars Nova. And you guys will have an opportunity to read, and you should read through the Part A and make sure that we have accurate data. So like I said, I have got the most recent weighted NMCI number that is available, but if you guys have had a more current visit from PSFA and have a different number, you would be able to give that to us. We're creating these graphs, pulling data, verified data out of the Nova system. But again, it's worth reviewing to make sure that you are in agreement with the data. We look at student enrollment by subgroups. We're looking at your overall standing. Now, this example is back from the meat of the pandemic time. You guys are going to have that as well, and so your format is going to read if you don't have a data available. And know that everybody's gone through this for the past couple of years through renewal. So everybody's well versed that it's a struggle. I think that any school is in a better position when they're explaining what they've learned.
Hey, Missy, this is Veronica. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there are people in the waiting room that are texting me trying to get in.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If you want to make me a co-host, I can take care of stuff like that, Missy.
I will. Come on. Thank you, Teresa. Or Veronica. All right. Sorry for you guys waiting in the waiting room. I have recorded this. I'm just making a real hash of it today. I should just go back home and start all over, but I don't have that choice. So it is recorded, but Charter Schools Division is here to help you guys. We want you to feel supported throughout this process. And we're here to work with you throughout this process. So keep that in mind. Remember that you're not alone, and we'll help as best we can. So right now I'm just going through the Part A report, which is something that we're hoping to get sent out to schools. Maybe Cheryl knows when we're gonna plan to get that out to schools.
Yeah, our goal is, I'll look that up. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, all right. Chat open too, so I can see. Don't want it all the way open.
Our goal is to have those to you by July 31st,
July 31st.
part A. Yeah.
And what part A is going to help you understand is how your data is, how you're perceived through your data that we see through that platform of Nova, and areas that are more concerning are going to be areas that you want to focus on more during your renewal narrative. Yes, Mustafa.
Good morning, Missy. I was wondering if there is anything else we could do in the meantime, because our renewal will be in November, so and receiving end of July will be a little bit tight for us. So we want to make sure that we are prepared and perhaps start drafting some of narratives and do some application process earlier. What we can do to expedite that?
Well, I mean, I can certainly advocate for you guys, for the November people, to get them earlier.
I don't know if I'm understanding the question
So what
clearly,
he's saying,
but what I suggest, you've got parts A through E, and so B through E are your parts that you can start working on now. You can work on them anytime, and those do take a while. And meanwhile, we work on part A and have those to you no later than July 31st. Does that make sense? So there is a lot you can do between now and then on your end, parts B through E of your
And those are
application.
available on the websites, part B and E?
yes, so the application, I'm gonna stop sharing and show you where the application is. Good Lord, I hate pop-up videos. Okay. So when you go to the website, I always go to offices and programs because I just think that's the easiest way to navigate this website. So offices and programs, and then you can find the Public Education Commission. You can click on that. And then you would want to go to Charter Schools Policies and Processes. And then this is where you click on Renewal. And these are the parts of the renewal application. And there's even a link to prior years submitted. You can always go to submitted applications over here. So yeah, part E, I would knock part E out first. Part E is your facilities. So you can have a facilities narrative and any appendices that you need to update. Part D, I think, is these would just open up instead of opening up as a Word document. Part D is the petitions of support. And so all you're returning with Part D is this affidavit. You're not sending us signatures, right? You're just making 2 copies of this petitions of support. One is verifying the families and one is verifying the staff. But you keep the signatures on site at your school. You're getting a signature per family and a signature per staff person. And you want to have, for your employees, not less than 65% in favor, and for households, not less than 75% wanting the school to continue. So those signatures should be gotten during this school year.
Mhm.
So, we're going to be looking at who was enrolled in your school on the 80th day and the 120th day. And it's that, group of people and who was working at your school. And those signatures will be verified then at the site visit, but you're not turning them in. Your business manager can be working on part C, which is the financial, data over the first 4 years of your charter contract. So they can obviously do years 1, 2, and 3 right now. They might have to wait until the end of the school year to do year 4. And so getting those out of the way means then that you have gotten a long way through.
Do-
If you're a spotlight school, thanks for putting the link in. If you're a spotlight school, you can, you should be able to just put not applicable for, some of the, narratives. I would take the opportunity to just highlight how awesome your school is.
And
So,
if I may interject, part B is a good spot for your narratives, for putting in.
yeah, part B is where all the
Yeah.
narratives are.
Yeah.
Well, you have a narrative around your facilities, but all the other narratives are in part B. So again, more with part A, what you're going to be receiving from us is proficiency data as we can see through the NOVA system. And I didn't go and change all these to say NOVA because again, it's like, is it going to be still NOVA? I don't know. It's just confusing to me.
Well, we get it from Vistas too.
Vistas too. So, we're looking at your growth in reading and math. We're looking at your English language progress towards proficiency, high school graduation rates, college and career program participation, if you're a high school, obviously. Success of your mission specific goals, that's very important. And your student attendance, retention, recurrent enrollment. I don't know if we look at retention of the teachers anymore, if we report out that did come up in the Chicago conference with the commissioners who were present, wanting to know, do they get reported out on that? And I'm like, well, I know you used to, but I don't know if that has been something that's been done in the most recent years, but it's definitely something
has.
we're going to look. Okay, good. So
Yeah.
And I'm assuming those scores will be reflected 24 state test results, correct? Or is that 23?
well, it'll be based on whatever is current.
Well, what we have actually on the part A is we try to do a history. And so we'll have as many years of data that we can collect. So it will probably be 3 years. And then once the most recent data is available from 23, 24, we'll add that. But that won't be available by July 31st. That will have to go on later.
And for schools who are going early, it might not be available by the time you're going. Which is frustration. It's a frustration to us. It's a huge frustration to the commissioners. We will report. Mary, what do you want to say?
Well, my school can provide the raw data. If that's helpful, can we, because we know on this end that everything else is kind of in disarray, but we do that on our own anyway. And we can also provide our short cycle assessment data, which is available immediately. So it's not like there's nothing that we can't access for year 4 and even the spring of 5 by the November date. So is that helpful to include that?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah,
all right.
in part B, you'll have the opportunity to provide not only a narrative, but also the appendices with the data in it. And of course, you just want to redact it and stuff like that. But absolutely. Well said. We will have a table talking about your financial compliance over the term of your contract. It'll list out the fiscal year and not sure why, because my example doesn't have any. If you had any findings, we would have a line with findings, but my example, I don't have any findings, so sorry about that. Look at trends in enrollment. I think this is really handy. So if you're looking at your sixth graders, you go from 22 kids to 28 kids to 30 kids. You know, that's a nice trend. 29, you know, that's not too bad. You don't want to see is, you know, 49 to 38 to 29 to 23. That's really, you know, declining trend. This is the type of report that I think that a board should be seeing every year so that you can understand your own trends and make sure that you're on track. And staff reporting, full-time equivalents. Your actual SEG funding. So this is an example of the Part C financial information. This is not what you provide us. Or is this what they provide us? Do we provide this in the Part A?
Yeah, we do. We get it from School
Okay.
Budget Bureau.
And yet we ask them to do this in Part C. To check to see that what they're doing is the same?
I guess so.
We look at operational cash balance from the audited financial reports and report that to you guys. Here's the audit findings. So, you know, the total number of findings, repeat findings, again, reminding you that material weaknesses and significant deficiencies are the ones that are the most onerous. And so that's what we report out on. So if you can see here that there were two findings, one of them was a repeat, but neither was a material weakness nor a significant deficiency. They were an other matter. So, you know, and you can see the trend then was that they didn't have any. So then we look at governing body performance. You'll have data. We didn't track it in FY19 for some reason, but we will have this for all of the years. And, you know, I have this data now, except I don't have whether or not you've completed all your training necessarily, unless you have completed all your training for this year. And then we let you know if there were timely notifications of vacancies, and we let the commissioners know. And so you'll get this dashboard of your performance framework over the term of this contract. And it's color coded to let you know where you need to focus. So, and again, I mean, this is what we've been dealing with. You know, some of them are going to have assurances, some of them were, you know, are rated late. It's been an absolute nightmare. This type of dashboard, like looking at the responsive to audit findings, this example school went from 2 years of does not meet to 2 years of meeting the standard. And so what the commissioners can see is that that's a good positive trend. Governance requirements has been less of a positive trend, as well as reporting requirements. And so, you know, knowing that you can address the work, the adult work that you've been doing to remediate these issues is advisable. And the commissioners will focus on your academics more than anything. But I think that it's important for you to talk about what you've done in all the other areas if you're not meeting the standard. So in part B, the first part is the academics. Per our mission, as well as meeting and exceeding state standards, Horizon Academy West continues to provide a rigorous, creative, well-rounded curriculum and program for all students. Progress is reported and shared to the governing council, teachers and staff, and parents or guardians. And so that was, a simple statement that they made. They're meeting and exceeding the state standards. They really didn't need to go into much other detail. 1A, the student outcomes. This example, they talked about the types of assessments that they gave. And they talked about what they did during the pandemic. I'm not going to read through all of it. I just took a sampling of different types of narratives for you to get just a sense of what people wrote. So, they're acknowledging that they had to work hard to remove the daily barriers. What did they do? They hired 2 diagnosticians to identify student needs and stuff like that. So they're really talking about all the adult actions that they worked on to ensure that they could get good student outcomes. In the mission specific goal example, again, some schools weren't able to measure during the pandemic, but they are discussing like what they're going to do and how they're coping to continue to reflect on what their mission looks like. Moving forward, your mission reporting is going to be more formalized on a particular template that we use. And there's an annual reporting that you guys will have to be providing us with that data. And I've talked to you guys about this before. The goal moving forward is going to have to cover all of your students, not just a small subset of students. So, but for this renewal, you're going to be talking about what you did do for your mission. 2A, your educational program, and some people wrote absolute, books and books of stuff. I chose this example because I liked that they spelled out, Bosque Ecosystems Monitoring Program, BEMP. We use lots of acronyms. If you use acronyms, don't assume that the commissioners know what the acronyms stand for. Spell it out, and then you can just reference the acronym after that. They are explaining what their program is. Hopefully your commissioner has come to your school and knows what your school is. Take the opportunity to kind of really paint a picture of what your school is like, how kids are experiencing that. Next is financial compliance. This example, they had a very brief statement. Policies and procedures are in place and followed. We continue to maintain compliance and have received no audit findings. So I think it was a good idea to put that they had earned the training exemption for financial understanding. Business manager, CPOs, a system and internal controls to ensure compliance at all times. recently moved our administrative assistant to the business office to meet timeliness. So again, they're talking about the adult actions that have happened around financial compliance. I personally would love more board focus on what the board is doing to ensure financial compliance in your narrative. So just as an aside. Next thing
Missy,
is,
say that one more time. You want to hear the board?
I would love to hear
Presentation?
more about what the board is doing to ensure financial compliance in a narrative. Like, how is the board working, overseeing the business manager? And don't make stuff up, but like, you're not, the person who's writing this is mostly the head administrator, right? So you don't always necessarily think about what is it that the board is doing to ensure, to hold me accountable, to hold the business manager accountable. So, you know, spend some time thinking about that. Like, you know, you're in meetings once a month, like, how are they holding me accountable? How are they holding them accountable? And address that, because it's their job. Governance responsibilities, you know, talking about the struggles that you've potentially had. If you've had less than the required 5 number of board members. I really think that it's important throughout this, if you're found to not be meeting the standard, to be talking about what you're trying to do to achieve that standard. Like I said last time, you know, the efforts that you're doing live day to day, year to year in the school. They don't fit necessarily snugly into the term of this contract. And so, you know, say you've had a really stable board for previous charter terms, but then you had a year of disruption. You know, don't shy away from it. It happened. We know it happened. You know, just feel free to talk about the positive things that you're working towards to make it so that it's not it's not going to be, you don't foresee it being continued as an issue. You know, I'm really not a fan of head administrators having to be the ones finding new board members. I think that that's a weird dynamic, since the board is the boss of the head administrator, to be finding your own bosses. So, you know, you've got enough to do, but anyway, this is, if you guys meets the standard, you know, we're going to continue our operations as we've been doing, as we meet the standards, you know, as a fine kind of statement. I guess that's all I'll say there. Equity and identity, how are you addressing that? So this example, they talked about their Bears Den houses, which are cultural and linguistic resources for parents and teachers. They have several TESOL charters. They have several TESOL 2022 charter renewal applications. All right, I don't know what that means. They have, I think that I might have typed something in there badly, but it's probably, we have several TESOL teachers, 5 to 6 endorsed teachers support language development. So again, they're talking about what their equity council, what their identity and equity is doing. Again, you know, as head administrator, you're probably on your equity council, so you'll have a fairly good understanding of this. But don't hesitate also to reach out to other members of your equity council and ask them to review what you've written, see if you've left anything out. Just make sure that it's, and then have a board member read it and make sure that they understand what it is you're trying to get across. If you've had any tribal consultation, this is something that we had a lot of schools who went through renewal last year that found out in renewal year that they were supposed to be doing tribal consultation. So we've been more proactive in reaching out to schools to make sure that they know that they have to do tribal consultation. So if this is not something that you have to do, then you're fine to write, you know, we do not have any tribal consultation requirements. Other performance framework indicators. While we do not have any complaints or below standard ratings, we continuously strive to improve processes. 2 areas noted were immunization records and timely reporting for council memberships. Our new health assistant is using a combination of letters, phone calls, and in-person meetings. So that was their response to 2F, other PF indicators. I cannot apologize, you know, I feel so awful taking up your valuable time, not being 100% prepared. I just can't even stomach it today. How are you demonstrating progress? This is an example from Albuquerque Collegiate Charter. They talk about how they've measured proficiency and growth through their assessments framework. They are measuring achievement and growth. They analyze it systematically and consistently through classwork, teacher observations. So they're explaining how they do that. They're explaining the challenges that they've had. It continues on. They were in their first renewal year, their first renewal cycle, excuse me. They discussed the challenges of their startup. So I thought they had a good, it's long, example of a long, good narrative on their demonstrating progress. So I've included for you, and I'm not going to read through all of it for you. It's just taking bits and pieces out of previous applications so that you have a way of quickly reviewing them. Thanks, Baylor. Am I advancing? There we go. So, and so you see how many, like, this is like 4 or 5 screens, and it goes on. I wasn't going to copy the whole thing out, but just to give you a sense of the types of way people are writing responses to their applications, so that you have a good example. And, you know, you might not like the examples I've chosen. You might want to go in and look at a school that's more aligned with your mission or your age groups. And, you know, they're all on the website for you to review. Now, you don't want to copy and paste, but if you're feeling stuck, like, I don't know what I want to say about this, I think that they're a good resource to review what other people have said. I think that you want to choose schools that have been successfully renewed. But of course, the only school that's closed recently is La Tierra Montessori, so you might not want to look at theirs, but they were successfully renewed. So people asked me for petition language example. You know, so this is what one of the schools had. Our school is currently preparing for our charter renewal. This is a process we complete every 5 years. One very important step in the process is to reach out to families so they can sign a petition in support of the renewal of our charter. Please read the statement below, sign electronically, and submit this form. You can also print and mail, drop off your statement of support. A verification of your petition submission will be sent to your email address. So that was just what this school did. You know, you have to figure out the math when it comes to families. So if you've got one family that has one kid and another family that has 4 kids, you know, how are you going to get to 75% with those families? And then these were some of the an example of some of the conditions that were put forth. And I'm going to say again, as you write these narratives, have your board read through them, have a thought partner read through them and help you to make sure that they're clear. And then when you're planning out your presentation time, whether you're going to do a video or whether you're going to just talk, present that to your board as if, or your staff or whomever, you know, your dogs, whoever you can get to sit still, so that you can practice your timing. Some of you have been in front of the commissioners numerous times, and, you know, like Mary Tarango's not going to be shy about getting up there. Other people, it's more nerve-wracking. It's your school, it's your baby, it's, and I'm not to say that Mary doesn't get nervous, but you know, she doesn't show it if she does. So you want to be prepared. You want to be giving off the impression that you care deeply about your kids every day, and I know you do. And so that will come across, but when you're nervous, it can be harder. And the commissioners will then, so you'll stop talking and your supporters will have said their word, and then the commissioners will start and they'll have their questions. And within their questions, they will have lots of commentary. And then there will be discussion about, you know, approval and with or without a condition. It is perfectly fine for you to say after the vote is taken, if you don't understand what the condition is, can you please reiterate what the condition is that you're placing on us? We'll do our best in the Charter Schools Division to try to capture that. It's hard sometimes. So, because there can be a lot of extra language in there, but I just want you to know that once the vote's taken and, you know, hopefully it's all good, you're allowed to ask, and you'll be so relieved you probably will forget. But it is the conditions, you want to know what their condition is. So for this example, Alma de Arte has to submit evidence to the Charter Schools Division in the fall and in the spring of the current contract, a detailed academic improvement plan. The Great Academy had to meet or exceed the state graduation rate for each year. The charter meet or exceed the average growth rates for schools. So, you know, understanding any conditions that are placed on you. One of the things that they did this year as well is put conditions on schools with an expectation of reporting out during this current contract. And every single attorney has said, that's this contract. You can't impose that on us. The renewal, what you're imposing is on the renewal contract moving forward. And so, you know, also to keep that in mind, to make sure that the authorizer is tasking you with something for your next contract, not the current contract, unless you agree with what they're asking you to do for the current contract. So is that clear? Am I making a hash of that? Okay, thanks, Steph. That's what I have for you guys today. You know, besides your questions, I too had hoped that we could have the Part As to before July. But again, I think, you know, getting your business manager to work on Part C, they can do years 1, 2, and 3 now. They'll probably have to wait until July to do year 4. Absolutely want to do the petitions of support now, before the end of the school year. And, you know, if you've been a spotlight school for the academics, like, kick back and relax. If you haven't, if you've struggled, you know that, and you can already start to talk, you know, draft out some thoughts around how you're going to respond to that, because you know how you've done. I really want you guys to be reaching out to me if you've got questions about choosing academic option 1, option 2, option 3. I think that it's a good idea to assume that you'll be renewed, right? Write your application like you're going to be renewed, and then, you know, because there's going to be so much work to do between either November and December, and then February and March for contract negotiations. It's such a short period of time to completely rethink how you're going to tackle mission goals for all of your students. You know, I'm hugely impressed by all of you. But that being said, like, I was surprised at how many head administrators I was having to try to drag outcomes out of instead of inputs, right? And I get it. That's your focus, is like, this is what I'm giving into the school. This is what I'm giving into these kids. But what the mission goal is really, how is that measured coming out? And remember that you can write a goal that is measured in different ways for different groups. So, and we're here to bounce ideas off of and help. Let's see, I should probably show you on the website where to find the, I don't even know if I know where to find what's the word I'm looking for? Templates, the templates for, the part of the academic. So where would those be? I'm still on the PEC's page. No. No. I know we put it on the website. They made this big honking deal about it. All right, well, I will have to find out where on the website so what I'm trying to find is it's in the charter schools.
I'm looking for it too.
If you're going to choose option 2 or option 3 of the academic framework moving forward, the templates have been developed and will have to be used in the way that they've been developed. But I don't know where they are. So I will email you guys individually, each of your groups, when I do know that. So, Shandon, then all of the recordings are on the PEC YouTube channel. Do any of you need to know how to get to the PEC YouTube channel? It's, can I get a link to the, where's a link? Putting the link address to the PEC YouTube channel in the chat. It's got all their work sessions, meetings, renewal hearings, the renewal trainings, the new applicant trainings. Loads of fun, loads of fun watching for everyone. So when we're done here, I'll download and process this, put it up on the website, or on the YouTube. I'm finding the templates. For option 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to email that's the link to you when I find it. One of the things that I'm probably going to start working on with each school is I'm going to look at your ed program, how it's written in your current contract, and I'm going to rewrite it in statements that are, we provide Montessori education and I'm going to write as evidenced by classroom observations, materials in the classroom, to trigger you guys to start thinking about how do you want to write your ed program for your next contract in a way that will be what the commissioners want for you guys to be able to do, is to be able to say, when the charter schools division comes to our school to look at our educational program, this is what they expect to see. So what we're trying to eliminate is the variances of individual opinions on, what that's supposed to look like. So say you do provide a Montessori inspired education, right? That might not look like true Montessori, which I hate that terminology, but you have that opportunity. And it's been something that I've struggled with the schools that are going through renewal right now, for them to really craft that language. But it's really important for you guys. So, probably throughout the summer, I want to be working, just like sending you off some stuff, like, here's something to think about, here's something to think about. So that, again, that'll get you in that mindset. So once you're renewed, we can hit the ground running and just like, it's done. You can ignore me or you can work with me, whichever you choose. So, is there any questions or anything you guys want me to do for you other than get you the templates for the Part A options 1, 2, and 3? And Part A, I'm sorry, the part of the framework, the academic framework. Mary.
I don't have really any questions about that, but I'm wondering if we could do a similar kind of review in August or early September, before we have to present. So if we hit questions along the road, that might be something similar for all of us, that we can maybe, get together again.
I'll pick a day and time and I'll send it out, and You guys let me know if that works, or maybe I'll try to figure out how to do a survey and like give you guys some options and we can do it that way. But I love that idea. And I'll send the link this. So,
Missy, it would be really helpful if you could send a list of the things that we absolutely have to do before the end of this school year, so we don't miss anything. I know you've mentioned several things. I didn't write them all down. I apologize, but it'd be really useful to have just a bullet list of things we absolutely have to do before the end of the school year.
okay. I mean, actually, you know, the number one is the signatures. That is, it's really, you don't want to put yourself in a position of trying to find students who have left your school and get them to
Right.
sign a petition.
Right.
So, okay, I can do that. Send a list of what you must do by June 30. I mean, one of them is board training, so, I'll send you I'll work with Cheryl and make sure I have everything, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. And, you know, don't hesitate. If you guys are sending me emails with questions, I will respond to all of you with answers, probably just the head administrators so that you can, because there's a lot of people on the list. So that you all have the same information. I think that it's gonna be a lot with 20 of you. It's gonna be a lot, but, you know, and please consider bringing students. They are your secret weapon. We had New Mexico School for the Arts brought their chorus and the chorus sang, and that was great. So, train your parents to say, and your students to say traditional public schools and charter public schools. So they're not saying, we didn't want to send our child to public school. Continue to, you know, invite your commissioner or other commissioners to any school activities that you do. They love that. Invite the Charter Schools Division too. We try to come when we can. I think somebody's having something, I think Rio Gaffa's having something during a PEC meeting this month, but so none of us can go to that.
How do we know who our commissioner is, Missy, please?
So on the PEC website, go back to sharing screen. So if I go back to offices and programs, go to the Public Education Commission, PEC districts and charter schools, and there's a map. But actually that's harder to see. I would just go to the Public Education Commission, Commissioner districts. No, that's what I had before. I don't like that. Where's the meet the commissioners? Contact the commissioners. Those are their biographies. Good Lord, we used to have a great, let's look here. Oh, here it goes, lists them out. So your school, where's your school? ACES Technical Charter. Alan Brower. He's got a lot of them. 21st Century, ACES Technical, Albuquerque Design Language Academy, Amy Beal, they're all up for Renewal, South Valley. Jared Dentro. So he's got a lot up for renewal this year. That's
Okay, I have the link to the performance framework. And it's it's not obvious which one it is. It's actually on there listed as the 2023 performance framework, but that is the new one with options 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you.
I put it in the
I know, I
chat.
wish we wouldn't keep naming them year because we're moving away from having to approve them every year. And yet we continue to name them that way, so it's very confusing, like 2023 is not the most current, but it is, so. All right, that's what I have for you guys today. You've been more than generous to me and I don't deserve it. So I appreciate all your time. I'm so sorry to be just such a hot mess today. I hope you guys have a great day.
All right,
Don't
thank you,
hesitate
Missy.
to reach out if you have any questions. We are here for you, okay?
Thank you,
All right.
Missy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
It's Monday for everybody, Missy.
Monday morning.
Amen. You did a great job. Thanks, Missy.
Thank
Thanks, you
you.
guys. You're too generous for me. All righty, bye.
Thank
And
you.
you'll share the,
Yeah,
the
I'll
P-
send the PowerPoint. Yeah.
I love the templates that you use. I don't know where
Thank
you
you.
find them, but I was like,
Don't
dang.
tell anybody because I'm supposed to use the boring, horrible ones. So.
I won't brag on you, but they are so beautiful. So
Thanks. All righty, take care.
thank you very much. Bye.